In this video, I'm going to show you how you can plot a parabola, that is the graph that belongs with the quadratic formula, and how you can check if a point lies on a graph. This is the new task. It's a little bit shorter because we missed one lesson, and on Monday you're going to do the test about chapter 10 and chapter 12. Okay, well, if you get a quadratic formula, and this is a quadratic formula because there's a variable with a square, so a letter with a square, and then it's always a quadratic formula. Then you will get a graph in the shape of a parabola. And we're going to draw one. Most of the time you will get the values for the letters, for the variables, but now we don't get them. Well, the first step is always to fill in the letters, the variables in the table. And in this formula we get the t and the w, and the t has to be on the top row, and the w, that's the outcome, should be on the bottom row. And the top row is always the horizontal axis. Most of the time it's the x-axis, but for now it's the t-axis. And the bottom row is the vertical axis. Most of the time it's the y-axis, but we can change the letters, so now it's the w-axis. If you don't get information like take for t the values -2 to 4, for example, then it's best to just take some negative numbers and some positive numbers. So for now we can choose -4, -3, until 4. Okay, if you get a formula, you always make a table if you have to draw the graph. And from your table, you can plot the graph. So now we want to know the value of w that belongs with a t of -4. So what you're going to do, you're going to replace every t in the formula with the number you can read in the table. And the first one is -4. So I'm going to explain it. W is, then we saw t squared, but now we replace the t with -4. And because you have to do a negative number, you have to do the square, you have to put it between brackets. Because if you don't put it between brackets, if you just put it like this, then the outcome would be negative, because then you get -4 times 4 is -16. But if you do put it between brackets, then you get a positive answer, because now it's -4 times -4, and negative times negative is positive. So always put a number between brackets if it's a negative number, and if you have to replace that in the formula. If you don't know when you do have to do it or when you don't have to do it, then just do it all the time. Plus 4 times t. There is a multiplication sign between the 4 and the t, but it's not written, but it is there. So 4 times -4. Because you don't do the square of the -4 over here, you don't have to put it between brackets, but you can do it if you like, so that you replace every t and then you put the number in brackets. Okay. W is -4 times -4, that is 16, plus 4 times -4, that would be positive times negative, that would be negative, so -16. If you still remember that the plus and the minus next to each other, that is the same as minus. So actually it says 16 minus 16, so W is 0. You can also think about a witch. This is the starting temperature, the begin temperature, it's 16 degrees. And then she adds cold blocks, 16 of them, into the kettle. And then you get, well, if it's 16 degrees and then you add cold blocks, it becomes less warm. And then it's just 0 degrees. So we calculated, a lot of steps for just one number, that the W that belongs to t is -4 is 0. Okay. Now we're going to calculate the next one, because you want to fill in the whole table. And you will see that you don't have to calculate every value, but we'll come to that. Okay, so now we replace the t for -3. W is negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, plus 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and plus minus is the same as just minus, so we get W is 9 minus 12. And if you have 9 euros and you will spend 12 of them, then you will get negative 3. Hey, that is the same as a t. Okay, maybe it's clear to you now. I'm going to explain the whole table, but if you do know how to do this, then you can skip maybe a few minutes until the drawing part. Okay, so you have to replace every t for the number in the table. So now we get negative 2. W is negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, plus 4 times negative 2. Oh, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So W is 4 minus 8, because this is the same as minus, is negative 4. Okay, then negative 1. W is negative 1 times negative 1 is 1, plus 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So W is 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Hey, that is something we can see we already saw over there. Okay, let's check it with the next one. If we fill in 0 for the table, for the t, I'm sorry. 0 squared. W is 0 times 0 is 0, plus 4 times 0 is also 0, and 0 plus 0 is 0. Okay, we can see that it's the same over here. But now we still have to calculate those values because we don't have values anymore at the left side. So the last ones, if you know how to do it, you can just skip this part, but I will explain it the whole thing. Okay, 1 squared plus 4 times 1 is 1 plus 4, so it's 5. Okay, then, and you can put it between brackets if you like, but you don't have to do it because it's not a negative number anymore, so it doesn't matter, but you can do it. 2 squared is 4, plus 4 times 2 is 8, so it's 12. Okay. Three squared plus 4 times 3, 9, plus 12 is 21. And then the last one, you can draw a beautiful parabola. 4 squared plus 4 times 4 is 16, plus 16 is 32. Okay, so now the next step, how to draw a parabola out of this graph. Okay, let me see if I can make some blocks in the background. Yeah, okay. So, oh, I want to erase this one. Okay, you will draw the origin, the 0, over here. And now we can see the t-axis is going from -4 to 4. So on the right it's positive, and you have to write the numbers under the line. And over here it's negative. And also over here, 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, is that smart? If you see the table, you can see that it goes from the lowest number is a -4, and the highest number is 32. If you draw parabolas, you don't always get all the values in your coordinate system. So for now, I think it's best if we take steps of 2. And then you don't have this thing in the whole graph, but you will see that you can see the shape of the parabola. Okay, so we take 2, 4, 6, and 8, and -2, -4, -6, and that's it, because the other one doesn't fit in my screen. Okay, so your axes don't have to have the same steps. And now you're going to plot the points. So if t is -4 and w is 0, that is this point. If t is -3, you can plot -3 over there. If t is -2, you have a value of -4 at the w axis. You can also see this as coordinates. So the first one has the coordinates -4, 0, because this is the t coordinate and this is the w coordinate. And then you can plot the points. Okay, and then we get -1 has -3 again. So you can see the shape of the parabola already. 0 and 0, 1 and 5, and 2 and 12, that's already out of the sight. And well, sometimes it's okay if your graph doesn't really fit into your coordinate system. Most of the time it will be, but your lowest point should be really clear into your graph. So for now you can just draw a line through the points, and you can just do it like this. Your coordinate system stops over here, and you can also think about, okay, if you go one step to the left, it should be over here somewhere. So you can just do it like this. Your lowest point should be visible in your graph, and it should be parabola shaped, because this belongs with a quadratic formula. Okay, don't use your ruler or your set square if you draw the line. It should be a little bit more beautiful than mine, but this is on the screen, so it's a little bit hard to draw a cute line. But don't use a ruler. You don't want to have really lines through them, but do it with just one line with your pencil, and always draw with a pencil. Okay, last question was about, does a point lie on a graph? If I ask you, does the point 1, 5 lie on the graph? Then you can use your formula to check that. Because this is the t value, and this is the w value. Always first the horizontal and then the vertical. And there you're going to replace the t with a 1. W is 1 squared plus 4 times 1. And then you get w is 1 plus 4. So w is 5. So now you calculate it with the formula. And of course, we already saw it in the table, but if you didn't have the table, that w is 5 belongs to t is 1. So yes, this point lies on the graph. Another one, if I ask you, does the point 7, 40 lie on the graph? Then you're going to replace the t, because this is the t value, with 7. And then you calculate if w is 40, if that's the outcome. So w is 7 squared plus 4 times 7. And I think you can already see that it's not correct, because this is 49 plus 28. So w is 77. And that is not the same as 40. So no, this point does not lie on the graph. But the point 7, 77, that one does lie on the graph. Okay, well, it's a little bit of a long video. I hope that you skipped a part if you thought, okay, now I know it. So know that if you have a quadratic formula, your shape of the graph is always a parabola. You need to make a graph, a table to draw the graph. Sometimes you cannot fit every value of your table into your coordinate system. That doesn't really matter. But you have to see the lowest point in your coordinate system. Okay, I hope it's clear. Good luck!